Hey everyone, my name is Mandy, the Handmade Homeschooler, and today is a Q&A specifically from my Facebook group. And if you would like to join that group, the link is down below in the description box for you. It's a totally free group where we just talk all day long about homeschooling and homeschooling stuff. But first, if you're not subscribed yet, make sure that you hit that like button and the subscribe button because it really does help me and my channel out. Okay, so let's jump into some of these questions. I don't know how many I'm gonna get to. There were so many of them, but I'm gonna try to hit a few of the big ones. Okay, so the first one is on graduation. What is your opinion on graduation for homeschooled seniors? I see myself homeschooling through high school, but I'm worried about my girls missing out on actual senior graduation. So this kind of goes with like the whole, what if they miss out on this type of experience? And there are a lot of things that are equivalent for high school kids and even elementary and middle school kids. You can join a co-op where they actually have a graduation. You could join, I know bigger academies like a Beckett Academy, maybe Bob Jones University, I'm not sure, does this, where if they are an academy student, they can actually go to the school and walk the graduation line. My kids are in a cover school to where they could actually go to the state where the school is, the brick and mortar, and they could actually walk across the stage if we wanted them to. You don't have to miss out on things like that if you don't want to. But my kids probably don't want to do that. I'm just knowing their personalities. It's probably not going to be a thing for my kids. But you can always do like a party or something at your own house. Honestly, as a public school student myself, I had way more fun at my own graduation party at my house than I did walking across the stage. For me, that was just a formality that I had to do, and I had to do it. Just have a party. It's way more fun. Okay, so the next question is, how do you put together portfolios for evaluations? In my state, an evaluator has to check our work. Okay, so you're gonna have to look up your state's guidelines on what they're going to be looking for. I typically use a 3-ring binder. I don't have an evaluator for my state. We don't do that here, but I always have a rule of thumb of keeping all of their tests and some sporadic work from the beginning, middle, and end of the year. How do you stay motivated and positive to continue schooling and most importantly, taking care of yourself? Taking care of yourself can be a little bit difficult sometimes, but I have found that when I take care of myself, I feel better about myself, and the better I feel about myself, the more I'm going to take care of myself. And that's one of those things that like once you get the ball rolling, you really keep up with it. And there was a lot of times I couldn't take care of myself because of my illness. And when I wasn't taking care of myself because I was sick, I always felt more sick. So it's one of those things that like a shower can just magically turn me into a new person sometimes. And that's kind of how you have to think about it. Go in little steps. When I was really, really overweight and I wasn't taking care of myself, I always made sure I got dressed, that I did not wear my pajamas all day. I did my hair, I did my makeup, and I got some kind of physical activity every single day. So those 4 things I made sure that I did. And I found that once I did those things, it was so much easier to go about the rest of my day and feel better about myself. So don't look at it as motivation, look at it as a routine. Create some kind of care routine for yourself. I hate to use the word self-care, but it's such an overplayed term. But do something to make yourself feel better, and you'll find that it's a lot easier to stay motivated. Okay, so the next question is about grading. Specifically, what to grade when they have a million papers and you're using a curriculum that doesn't tell you how they set up to grade. So a lot of curriculum is like this. They don't exactly have a grading system. A lot of the very structured curriculum is going to have some kind of grading tier, like Abeka. Abeka has like actual evaluations at the end of the teacher book for you, and they tell you exactly what to grade, and it's so easy peasy. But there are curriculum like, I think The Good and the Beautiful is one where there's like no grading structure whatsoever. There's a couple different ways you can go about this. You can decide to grade what you want. You can say, okay, this worksheet that we're going to be doing, I'm going to count it as a grade. So make sure you do your best because I'm going to put it in the grade book. So make your own tests. You can actually make your own test. I've done this before where our kids have had to read a book and then I make up the questions and they have to answer them. Sometimes you have to get creative when it comes to grading, but it's not that difficult when you figure out like, oh wait, I'm in charge of this whole thing, so I can decide what to grade. You can have them make some kind of project or diorama or like a, you know, like when you did the science fairs and you had like the 3-fold cutout. The name of that is just escaping me right now. I apologize, but that is one of the things that you can use as like an end of year grade type of thing. There's so many things that you can do. There's so many options out there available. Look up on Google ways to grade or things to grade, and you'll just be assaulted with all kinds of different ideas that you can do. There's so many different things that you can do. I have been known to make up tests, and when there's worksheets, it's already done for you because you're gonna already have the answer, so you don't even have to do that. So you can say, okay, this is your test, just make that their test. At what point do you know when to switch curriculum? When we're all miserable. Usually if we are all miserable and are dreading using it and their grades are suffering. If those two things are happening, it's time to nix it. Now it's gonna be different for every person in a situation because sometimes financially you might not be able to switch and you might just have to tough it out. But if it's at all possible, if we're all miserable and we are just not having a good time anymore and this is something that we just dread using, it's time to switch it out because it shouldn't be painful for everybody and their grades should not be suffering over something like that. So a lot of times you just make that switch and it's like something magical happens and everybody wants to work. So be mindful with that. Just see how you and your kids both are using the curriculum. Sometimes it's good to keep it and sometimes it's time to let it go. Homeschooling while working full time. It's hard. It is not easy. I'm blessed enough to work at home and I kind of get to make my own hours. But when I was working full time at home, and this was my office, not a homeschool room, I was working about 12 hours a day, and a lot of times it was very hard. I would work during a designated work time, and then we would have school during designated school time, and the rest of the evening was either more work for me or, you know, cooking, cleaning, you know, trying to catch up on all those other things. Just try to get rid of distractions and do the best that you can. Make some kind of schedule for yourself where you have carved out time for each thing and don't get distracted. Cut all the distractions. I basically had to delete like all my social media apps for quite a while and I just had to focus solely on the task at hand during that time. It's not easy though, and props to you, Mom. How to handle negativity from public school teacher family members. Don't talk about it with them. Basically, it's none of their business. They're your kids. Just because they're family doesn't mean that your kids' education is any of their business. If they try to come up with that conversation, usually I always had an answer at the ready for each person or each situation. So like I had some kind of answer ready for people at the grocery store and I had an answer ready for family members who would be snarky. And a lot of times you just have to smile and nod because you might have to be polite in the moment, but I would never bring it up around them. I would keep it to myself. And if my kids happen to say something, then they say something. But most of the time, if my kids said something, it was because they were excited about something that they were doing in school. And it's different for every family member and every family. Everybody's got somebody, you know, in their family that is just tough to deal with. It can be really hard, especially when you first go into it, because it feels like everybody loves to give their opinion on this stuff when it's none of their business. So just ignore it. It will taper off after a while. And now I haven't had anybody say anything negative to me in probably 3 or 4 years. I think it was really just that first year where we had problems with people being negative about it. But other than that, I mean, we haven't had anybody say anything nasty to us in a long, long time. So just push through, ignore the haters, and just do what you need to do. And kindly find a way to say thank you for your opinion and move on to the next thing. Tips for organizing past work, what to keep, what to toss, and organizing it all. I actually keep a portfolio. I keep a big 3-ring binder. There's these binders that are like 3 or 4 inches. They're huge. And I actually make one for every school year. And I divide it in half with a dividing tab. And half of it is one kid, half of it's the other kid. And that's the work that I keep. And if it doesn't fit in the binder, it gets tossed. I only keep the important things, the things that the things that they themselves actually love and that are proud of. All the other stuff, all the worksheets and stuff, just toss them. If you don't need them for an evaluation, just toss them. And IEW versus EIW. I don't know that much about EIW, but I want to say that I think they're more secular. IEW is definitely Christian. Andrew Pudawa is a great teacher. I chose IEW because of his amazing teaching skills. And if you'd like to try 3 weeks of that for free, you can down in my description below. I have a link for 3 full weeks of the IEW Language Arts curriculum, the one that we actually use, the structure and style. We love that curriculum. It's so easy for the kids to follow along, and they've been reading a lot of good books and literature along with it. So definitely look that one up. But when it comes to EIW, I would say really research it and decide which one would be better for your family. There's not a whole lot of differences that I can think of. I think EIW is more secular, and I think you actually send in your work to EIW, but I could be wrong on that, I'm not sure. Okay guys, that's all I have time to answer today because this is starting to really run over. I might actually have to split this into 2. So thank you for hanging out with me today. And if you want to get into our group and ask more questions, make sure that you hit the link that is down below in the description box. I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day and happy homeschooling.